Welcome to the Deepak Saini Show.
He said he gon' huff and puff and blow my mind up. You meet the island girl, she might dirty wind up.
Welcome to the Deepak Saini Show. I'd like to thank J23 for the intro music. You can find a link to her music in the show description. Today is a very special edition of the show. For the first time ever, I will be interviewed, and I'm going to be interviewed by my oldest daughter, AJ. Now, she's a minor, so she's going to be, for those of you watching video, she's going to be off camera. For those of you listening audio only, it will make a difference. So anyway, welcome and thanks for being on Dad's show.
So, a few questions for you today.
Okay, shoot.
Why are there tiger pictures all over our house?
Why are there tiger pictures all over our house? Okay, so I'll make this very brief. I guess when I was maybe like 7 or 8 years old, my oldest cousin gave me this big tiger poster. I don't know why he did, and I had put it up in my room. And ever since then, I've loved tigers. I love going to the zoo and like watching them. Like I could literally sit for hours and like watch tigers walking around and that sort of thing. Yeah. So yeah, love going to the zoo in general, but yeah, tigers are my favorite animal for sure.
Second question. I remember being a kid and going to your office, but now you work from home. How did that change from going from downtown to being at home?
Right. So some of you know my story. So when AJ was younger, I still worked corporate, right? I was a CPA by first profession, as some of you who've been following me for a long time know. And yeah, so she actually went to the daycare, and her younger sister as well. That was in the building that I used to work in. So yeah, odd times I have to work late or something, but the daycare was closing. She'd like come up to my office and what have you. But yeah, so I'm not going to rehash my whole story here. You guys can follow that. But you know, after overcoming my health challenges and realizing that I wanted to do something different with my life and help other people not have to go through their challenges, and I became, you know, a coach. So yeah, so now I work from home. I haven't worked corporate since 2018, and yeah, so now my office is here. We're in my home office, and yeah, so that's why I don't have a downtown office anymore, because I don't have a corporate job.
Third, what is your favorite part of working with clients?
Great question. I think overall, regardless of the type of client I'm working with or what we're working on, I think the biggest thing is seeing a couple things. One, the recognition in themselves that they can actually do it. Sometimes they don't believe it themselves. So oftentimes at the beginning, I believe in them more than they do themselves. So when that switch happens for them, that they like really understand that they can like do this, whatever they're working on, whatever their challenges, that's very rewarding. And then just seeing their overall progress over the time that we work together, whether it be like 6 months, a year, or even longer, is seeing them like reach their goals. That's very fulfilling, very satisfying for me, and certainly more so than when I was, you know, working for someone else in their business, as opposed to helping people in my business.
Fourth question. You started health coaching and now you also do business coaching. How did that happen?
Great question. So again, for those of you who follow me, you've probably seen my transition in the posts and that type of thing. So again, overcoming my own health challenges and got some early certification, started working with people who were like me at the beginning, weight loss, back pain. And then as I evolved myself and what I wanted for my own health goals, et cetera, that's evolved, you know, to how I work with my clients now, my high-end health coaching program that, you know, involves, you know, very robust testing, DNA, microbiome, blood work, et cetera, plus all the lifestyle factors. A number of years ago, a few of my health coaching clients, because they knew my background in corporate finance, corporate accounting, et cetera, just, you know, business in general, they started asking me to give them a little bit of business coaching, you know, at the same time. And that evolved to just offering business coaching. First, it was kind of, you know, leadership, executive coaching, and that's now more involved to actually working with newer entrepreneurs to help them get their businesses off the ground, not make all the dumb mistakes that I made in my business, you know, going back a number of years. So I still work with people, you know, doing sort of more executive business coaching, kind of more strategy type of thing, but also helping newer entrepreneurs, also with like the marketing and, you know, but really it's about becoming the person that they need to be successful. Again, that's work I've done myself. So that's kind of the transition. So I do both. I work with health coaching clients, or work with clients on their health, but also work with newer entrepreneurs for business coaching as well. These are great questions you're asking. Anything else?
Question, yeah. What are your favorite hobbies?
What are my favorite hobbies? Okay, I'm gonna ask you first. What do you think my favorite hobbies are? And then I'll answer your question.
I would say reading and working.
Reading and working. Working's not a hobby.
Well, you do it a lot.
Okay, I
So
do it a lot. I do love to read for sure. I try and read about roughly 2 books a month. So about the last couple of years, 24 books, or 25 books that I've read. But I would say actually my hobbies, I really, a lot of times people say like, oh, I like exercising or whatever as their hobby. I view that as just part of my lifestyle. So I don't view that as a hobby. I do like stand-up paddleboarding. I used to golf. But after overcoming my back injury, well, I can get back to golfing. It's not worth the trade-off. I feel very sore after. So I replaced golfing with stand-up paddleboarding. So AJ can attest to whenever we're somewhere warm that has water, body of water. Typically, when we travel to British Columbia to visit her grandparents, the lake is right there. So I stand up paddleboard as much as I can. And I also love it's a relatively new hobby for me, and I haven't done too much the last couple of years, but it's something I picked up during COVID. Is actually archery. So we have a decent sized backyard. I can actually set up a target and shoot my bow, my compound bow in my backyard. So, and yeah, I'm starting to pick up pickleball and snowshoeing a little bit in the winter, but the winters have actually been kind of milder the last couple of years. So I'd say stand-up paddleboarding and archery, something I do more of, are kind of my hobbies. So great questions. Do you have any other questions for me?
a few more actually.
Okay.
So if someone asked you what was the number one tip you would have for them on becoming the best version of themselves?
What would that be?
Yeah.
Okay, great question. I would say so many people, and I'm going to be, some of you may have heard me say this before, and I don't throw this term around lightly. It's a spectrum, but anyone of a certain age, certainly if you're as old as me or an adult for sure, you've had some level of trauma, and some people have very serious trauma, of course, understandably, and some people have less serious trauma that maybe they don't even recognize. That's been their unconscious mind has suppressed that for them. But I think to be the best version of ourselves, we need to address those root causes at the unconscious mind level. So any negative emotions or limiting beliefs, and hey, we all have them. These are all things that we've picked up from childhood or even at birth. And I've even had cases where people like generations before this trauma's been inherited by them. So, but make a long story short, I think when are able to handle your own emotions and limiting beliefs, you show up differently. Go forward in your relationships, in your business, etc. So I think that's one of the biggest thing someone can do is look inwards and heal anything that needs to be healed, get over any negative emotions and limiting beliefs so that they can be the best version of themselves go forward. So that was a great question. Thanks.
Two more. What would you say has been your biggest challenge in the past like decade or whatever of starting this business and improving your health and your lifestyle? What's been the biggest challenge?
Okay, that's like 3 questions in one, I think. So, okay, I'm going to break it down. So, biggest challenge. So, I kind of overcame my health journey about 9, 10 years ago, roughly now. So, that kind of falls in the realm of your question. So, I'd say number one from a health point of view is maintaining, right? Can be very easily for me to slip back into those habits I had before. Again, even with some of that inner game work that I just mentioned, that's really helpful. AJ can attest to, I haven't had peanut butter in almost a year because I used a technique to rid myself of the need to, the desire to eat peanut butter, but like just habits and just staying on top of it. Whether we lose weight or overcome an injury or illness or whatever the case may be for you, we have to stay at it. I really think it's important to build those healthy habits to stay at it. So that's been, even though that's something I do and I work with my clients on, et cetera, it's still something that I have to work on. It's still a challenge for me, and I need to stay on top of. So that's number one. From the business point of view, being an employee and working for someone else in a corporate setting is much different than being an entrepreneur and running your own business. Night and day. And it doesn't matter that I had a business degree and was in a CPA and all that kind of stuff. totally different for sure. So there's been a lot of learnings for that. Like I mentioned earlier, I made tons of mistakes. That's something to help with my business coaching clients with not making mistakes I made. And I'm continuously learning and evolving. And I hire my own coaches and mentors to help me along so I can achieve, my next set of goals and keep going. So it's definitely challenging. And again, even my parents, I haven't talked a ton about on this podcast. They were entrepreneurs as well, but they had like brick and mortar type of service business, which again is much different than a coaching sort of more online digital marketing type of business. So can't even really some of the lessons. There's definitely lessons I learned from my parents and about entrepreneurship for sure, but it's a different realm totally. So huge learning curve, and yeah, and I'm still learning. So yeah, I think I answered your question. Yeah. Did you have one more?
Yeah. Lastly, what is your favorite color?
What is my favorite color? Even though I'm wearing red, if those of you who've been following me for a long time, I'm almost always wearing blue. Because this is a special episode, I purposely chose to wear something different. So I'm wearing this, it's a relatively new golf shirt here I got, I think for Christmas. So I am wearing red, but I would say overall, I think black or blue. Black obviously goes everything, but I think most people know me and they always see me and everything in blue. So probably blue is my favorite color. Now, I have a last question for you before we sign off here. So obviously you're not a guest per se of the show, but I always ask my guests, what does their morning routine look like, or what is a non-negotiable for them as part of their health or their morning health routine or whatever? So I'm going to ask you that question. What does your morning routine look like, AJ?
There are many non-negotiables I have in my morning. First, always drink water.
Drink water.
Hydrating in the morning is so important for me. And I always follow that by a skincare routine just to wake myself up and to make sure I do that every morning and can stay consistent is really important. And also movement in the morning. I really like Pilates because it's easy and it's just so it doesn't make me smell bad because
Okay, yeah, got it. So just to recap, so water, hydration, super important. Talked about this before. Robust skincare protocol, consistency, broad consistency. Consistency is key with any habit we want to do. And then movement, which in your case is Pilates. And I've shared before, maybe not on the podcast, but certainly on some of my social media posts and if you're on my email newsletter, about how AJ got me into doing Pilates last summer as a little challenge to do together. And then when school started and our schedules changed, I kind of kept up with some of that and added some of that to my routine. So I love that. So water, and you eat really healthy too. Honestly, folks, she probably even eats healthier than me for sure. Would you say that's true?
maybe, yeah, most days.
Yeah. So water, movement, Pilates in her case, eating healthy, skincare routine, and just being consistent generally. Did I sum that up?
Because a nutritious breakfast always starts the day off right.
That's right. Yeah, that's awesome. What else? I was going to say, that reminded me of something else, and now I have forgotten what I was going to say. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I want to thank you. I want to shake your hand. Thank you for the interview. So again, that was AJ, my oldest daughter here. Appreciate you interviewing me for this special solo episode. I guess it's not really solo because you're here, but for this first of a kind episode. Anyway, thanks everyone for listening. I'm going to throw it back to J23, who's going to guide us out with some music. Don't forget to check out today's show sponsor at the end, as well as all the free resources that are in the notes underneath the video links here. So thanks for listening to the Deepak Saini Show, and remember, exceptional results for the exceptional you. Till next time. Say bye. This episode is brought to you by Optimizers. I love their product, Gluten Guardian. Now, I'm not celiac, but I am sensitive to gluten, and sometimes you just can't avoid it. You're out. Sometimes you just want to celebrate that birthday cake that your kids made, what have you. So I'll pop a couple of these pills just to help mitigate the inflammation and help break down the gluten that I may ingest sometimes. So Gluten Guardian also works with dairy as well. I take these occasionally, and click the link and you can save 10% off at least, if not more. Cheers.
podcast produced by the Minted Green Company.
What you